Okay. Well, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Alchemy Experience with our series Legacy Leaders with my girl Des. We're here at you as your dynamic duo today. Yes, it is officially St. Patty's Day. So if you're watching on the YouTubes, you're seeing me all decked out because that's what we do over here in the Pitts homestead. But today we are going to dive into some spring cleaning, which my house desperately needs right now. And
True.
so we just returned from our cruise to Mexico, launching the Series 4 Warrior Women. So exciting. We had a blast and now we're back at it. We did some amazing networking. We did some masterminding. We did some launching of the book on the ship. We did some beautiful sightseeing and connection and just embodiment work. And so some pleasure, some business, and now we're back at it for you guys to talk about as we end the first quarter of the year. Do you believe that?
No, it went so fast. Like I literally was just making my poster for the year. I don't know what happened.
Mhm. No, it's insane. It's insane. So as we go into it, which I don't know, it's snowing here in New York, but
It's
uh,
just literally the coldest St. Patty's Day ever.
it has, yeah, it's been really warm the past handful of years. So this year, definitely very cold. But spring is on the horizon. We can feel it. It's everybody's itching for it. It's going to be here before we know it. And so we want to talk to you guys about spring cleaning your success in business, as entrepreneurs, as business partners, all the things, and what's costing you that you need to cut and pull the weeds on, right? So, um, spring isn't, it's not about starting over. Like the nature doesn't start over, right? It just rejuvenates. It's about what's working, what's not working. Um, if you're feeling stuck, it's more that you've probably overgrown in certain areas of your business. And how can we pull those weeds so that we can start to bloom and succeed rapidly? So, yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about the three types of weeds here, girl. Let's dive in.
Yes, I mean spring's showing a little bit of leg right now. It's showing a little leg. We're going into the next quarter. I'm so excited. I love all things with this. I love the metaphor of the blooming and the weeds and the weeds choking stuff out and like how do you connect this to the company, right? How do you connect this to the business? And it's really cool because there are three types of weeds, right? And we all know once the spring starts showing a little bit of its leg here, we got to start really looking at the garden, looking at the space and saying, oh, this doesn't belong. Oh, this doesn't belong, so that you have room to bloom, right? That's the whole idea, is that we don't want to look at the company from one quarter to another and stay the same. We want to tweak and we want to fix so that we can continue to bloom. That's kind of the idea of this whole thing, which is really awesome for all my plant ladies, all my flower ladies, me and Erin. I know it. I know it. She's a plant lady. I'm a flower lady. I got my little section. She has her little section. So I know this is such a great metaphor, but there's weeds in the strategy. So that's the first one, is the weeds in the strategy. And what do I mean by that? I mean, as if when you're looking at what is your offer, what are you offering? Is there weakness in the offer? Are there weeds in the offer that's choking out that offer that you want to convert, that you need to have more conversion on, that you want to tweak so that you're able to convert in a higher number? And I do that often when I'm looking at my poster that I feel like I just made in January.
Yep.
And I look at it like I look at some things. I look at like the pricing. I look at, am I underpricing to feel safe? Am I overpricing? Am I overcomplicating the offer? Right? Those are kinds of different ways to take a look at your offer and say, okay, how much is converting? How much is not converting? And what do I need to do to fix this so that my offer is so solid? Because as we know, in companies. High ticket offers is what makes that company stick around for a long time, right? We don't want to be part of the statistics where you're choked out because you haven't looked at your offer. And I got to give credit to my coach that I just hired. He was really helping me take a look at the offers, and we did exactly this. Exactly looking at what is it, how can it be better, how can it be more clear, how can we pull out the weeds that aren't working. And I think that it's a really cool idea because thinking about offers in general, if this isn't something that you're looking at, this is something that is critical.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
love pulling the weeds so that there's more room to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's shifting, it's pivoting, right? What's working, what's not. And I think some of this, which we'll get into further down in one of the other weeds that's sort of consuming us, is what is a distraction, right? What is consuming us that's actually not serving us? What is not aligned any longer? And I think that's something that a lot of people, when you're looking at strategy, sometimes we're pushing a strategy that isn't internally aligned anymore, and we're hitting blocks, you know? And so if you can really dive into working with somebody in particular, whether you hire a coach or you are in different groups that women are doing this together, like Legacy Leaders Exclusive, we do this work together and we dive in and we do hot seat coaching and we have guest speakers come on that give us advice and give us wisdom and give us tools and strategy to help really weed these things out. So I think this was a really good one, Des, in the weeds in your strategy. What do you need to pull out, get rid of, or delegate that isn't actually serving you and aligned any longer? So I love that. That's such a good one. I think it's good that it's the first one because once you get that, then you're making room for this next weed that is there. And this is the weeds in your identity. I think this one is a little deeper. It's maybe a little bit more complicated because we can sometimes see the strategy, right? We can see like, oh, I need to up my price here. Oh, I need to get rid of this offer over here. We can move those pieces around. But when it comes to the internal stuff of your identity, sometimes that can be a little bit complicated. But playing small just to stay liked. Ooh, I have a
Mm.
whole post on this. So stay tuned, y'all, or, just look at my stuff because it's going to get real up in here. I have a whole I have a whole thing that I'm going to be saying in pieces because I can't say it all at once. But staying small, this is something that I have been doing for a really long time out of the fear of disappointment and for other people, disappointment in myself, people not liking me, losing followers, losing friends. It's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen anyway. People are going to come and go in your life. And so, um, yeah, shifting that identity, you weren't put on this earth to just play small, especially if you're a business owner. There's a seed that was planted in you to grow something to impact other people, and people are waiting on you. They're waiting in the wings for you to step into that so that they can do the same. So, yeah, that identity shift, we got to pull those weeds of staying small, man. We've got to plant some things of that are going to grow taller and stronger. Avoiding the visibility, that is something that I have definitely come into as well. And I know Des too. I can see it even in you with your posts. You've definitely been posting more, sharing more. You've always shared, but it's definitely increasing and you can see it. You can just see um, how you're evolving, which is really fun to watch from a friend standpoint and a business partner on the legacy leadership piece, to see that for you. So again, yeah, like don't avoid being visible. If you have something to share, share it because even if it resonates with one person, even if you get zero likes, but somebody out there is like, man, this resonated. I posted something and it was just from the heart. It was just like I was writing and something came through for me and I posted it and I had three people that I don't even know, never met them a day in my life, wrote like, oh, this resonates, or oh, like just engaging with me. And I'm like, okay, I don't know these people, but like somehow they saw what I wrote and it encouraged them to share their thought on it, to piggyback on what I was saying. I'm like, man, that's really cool because people might have felt the same thing or had the same thought, but they weren't able to verbalize it, you know? And then when I said it, it helped them be able to verbalize it and feel that and shift in their identity. So stop avoiding being visible. And I don't mean that you have to be on social media and have a whole platform of that, but just visibility in general. Holding on to an old version of you, we gotta let that go. Let it go. So you don't need a new plan, you just need a new standard. And I think there's standards that we set for ourselves, and if we can continue to build on those, it's just the floors are infinite, right? So,
Oh my gosh,
totally.
I was literally just having a conversation exactly about this on the ship with some of my team members. And they were saying, like, you know, you inspire me. I see you out here. I see you doing your thing. I'm just at this place where I'm just comfortable, you know, so I'm like behind the scenes. I'm more comfortable behind the scenes, but I see you. And, you know, there's certain people where, you know, you guys inspire me and da 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 da. And I want to just address this real quick before we go on the next one. It is perfectly fine,
Yeah.
like it is perfectly fine. You will know when you are ready. That has to be something as a mindset shift to be able to say, you know what, it's time to turn this thing up. Because until you have that mindset shift, it's okay. You're going to just be sitting at this place where you're really, really comfortable. But just remember that, like, if you start pulling a bunch of weeds and you start doing a whole new set of land, it's very uncomfortable, but that's where real growth happens. And so I want to tell people it's okay to be comfortable and to move when you're ready to move. And to get into rooms like this where you help borrow people's identity. And that's exactly what he was saying to me on the ship is like, sometimes I borrow your identity. I borrow your confidence to be able to move in this way, to be brave enough to move and be in front of all these people. And I was like, absolutely. That's what rooms like this, that's what they're meant for. Sometimes you borrow other people's confidence, you borrow other people's, you know, identities at the times of where you're feeling a little nervous or you're not feeling as confident, or you know, you're feeling like you just need you know, what would Jesse do, right? Like sometimes you just have to be like, what would, you know, and then it helps you kind of move and it helps you get those weeds out quicker when you're in circles like this. So I love that. I love that I literally just had this conversation.
Well, and I think the other piece too, and we're talking about growth, I think a lot of times that happens, right? We like weed everything out, we replant things, and then we don't see any growth, right? Because everything's happening below the surface. It's an identity shift inside. So we're not seeing all this external growth. And I think the biggest piece that we have to be mindful of is a lot of us go digging to see if anything's growing.
Are
And
you
we're just
there?
like, right, we're just disturbing the earth. It's like, no, let it, like, just keep watering it, just keep giving it sunlight, just keep doing the damn thing because there's things happening underneath the soil. We just can't see it, you know? And so sometimes that is the whole thing is we've got to be able to weed and then we've got to be able to have faith that it's happening underneath the surface and
Mhm.
keep tweaking your identity, keep recreating yourself as you need to, and giving yourself that sunlight, giving yourself that water, giving yourself all of the things to help you continue to grow. And then eventually it's like it just comes off. And then there's a new level and a new level and a new level. It's all there, right? Yeah. So as we move into, you want to take this on, Des, and talk about the weeds and our energy.
Oh yeah, you just talked about it. You got to water yourself and give yourself some sun, right? Like
Yeah.
that's because here's what happens with weeds and energy, burnout happens. It starts to creep in, right? And since you're the burnout queen, you know all about this, but like here's what happens when people have weeds in their energy, they start feeling burnt out because they're saying yes to everything and not yes to the greatest things. Right. And that's one of the biggest things I want to kind of say here today is like it's easy to get caught up in everything. But like we said before, some things are distractions.
Yeah.
And so, what do I mean by that? I just had this conversation on my couch after the conversation on the ship yesterday as well. Is like people get caught up in, should I do more of this or more of this? And they figure out, okay, is this becoming a distraction? Because is it, if it's not monetizing, um, then are we doing more of that or less of that? Right. And so here's the thing. Sometimes people spend so much time, and this is a really good example. Some people spend all kinds of time creating their website versus getting on calls with clients and having clients. And there's a big gap there that happens because you want to look a certain way, but the look doesn't matter if you don't have any money coming in. So we want to focus on things that create money and less on things that don't create money. And with spring cleaning, and this whole concept, I'm trying to get a cleaner too, because here's the thing is I don't want to spend all this time cleaning my house. I want to spend less time cleaning my house and more time working on the company to get clients. Right. So that's just like an idea of an example of where we have less burnout because we're delegating and not doing as much in our energy on things that don't matter versus the things that do. Another one is over giving in containers. And I really love this one. And again, one of my coaches really helped me explore this area because I'm a heart centered leader. What happens in heart centered leaders often is that we're always over giving.
Hmm.
And when you're over giving and people have a standard, then you're doing all these things, and then when there's a boundary that's placed, they're like, whoa, 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 we're not used to this person, right? And it's like, well, here's the thing. If you're doing all the things, you have to have really firm boundaries of not over giving so much because you're going to burn out and you're going to burn out quick. And another thing about that is, here's the thing about over giving leaders is when you overgive so much, you don't give them a reason to stay around because you gave them everything. And that's the truth. So, overgiving can really actually be a downfall in a lot of ways. So, I'm learning this as I go as a heart centered leader that I'm balancing providing a service and all the things, but then also doing it in a way where you've paid this much and you're getting this much value. And we need to understand how much you just got, right? So that the numbers and the energy and all of that makes sense. So weeds in your energy. I mean, it's a big thing.
Yeah,
Overgiving is a big thing. Like,
I think it's fair to say too, we don't talk a lot. I mean, the money thing is becoming more of a discussion, right? Money, energy, and money, that's all it is money is just energy. It's the exchange of abundance, right? It's just
mhm,
energetic exchange of abundance. It's just the physical representation of abundance. And so I think sometimes there's a fear in not having enough or having too much, right? And so I think there's something in that too. I think when we talk energy, we would be probably remiss by not bringing that up a little bit and just saying, where do you find yourself in this season of financial stability, right, within your business? And being able to say, where is my energy going with that, And so, and you talked about that a little bit of being able to say, like, are we charging enough? And are we with the right clients? Are we connecting with the right people? Because I think in a traditional sense, there's a product and you exchange money for a product, right? But when you're looking at the things we do, yes, we write books, yes, we have some tangible things that we provide. However, most of what we do is providing a service.
mhm,
And people are not just paying for our time, but they're paying for our energy. All the wisdom that we have paid for and all the
mhm.
codes that we have unlocked ourselves, they're paying for that. And so I think it's important to recognize as a business owner that people are going to pay you for your energy, not just your time, not just your tangible thing, but also for all the people listening that don't own a business that are looking to get coached or, you know, connection, collaboration. Be mindful of investing in yourself and investing with the right people because that's an important part of your energy because it will burn you out if you're in fear of paying for something and all of that, right? So I think that just I wanted to throw that in there because we could talk tons of trainings about money and energy and all of
Oh
that.
yeah, absolutely. And then the last one is building from pressure. So, I mean,
That goes along with it, right?
I feel like this is exactly right in line with that. Nothing should ever be from pressure, and if it is from pressure, you can kind of tell, right? And so it should be very, very aligned. Like this is your purpose, this is your calling, and that's with everything. It's like anything from pressure is usually not good. Um, it has to feel really, really true, really right, really within. So, you know, build with the right people around you, because then it doesn't feel like pressure. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel like pressure because you're getting skills and you're borrowing ideas and you're learning from each other as a collective so that you don't feel like it's from pressure.
Mhm.
And here's another thing with that, it goes back to the offer part in the very beginning, is if you feel as if you are building from pressure because you're like, wow, I still need to pay my bills, Daz and Erin. This is all great and great, but my bills don't stop, right? I would really just consider taking a look at your offer again and figuring out the gaps in it so that you don't feel as if you're always having to build from pressure because then that's an offer thing, that's not a pressure thing. So it's really great to
Energy,
kind of take
right?
a look
It's
at
an
that.
energy thing. People can pick
Yeah.
up on your energy if you're putting it out there because you need it, because you're desperate. People can feel that
Yeah.
versus I'm opening my heart, I'm serving. If you want to come in, great. If not, that's okay. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different energy. And so I think that's totally aligned. So such a good conversation. So remember those three weeds in this season. What is your strategy? What is your identity? What is your energy? So, if we're looking at the things that we need to pull and get rid of, we need to look in those three categories and pull those weeds and replant seeds if need to, or let the ones that are there continue to grow. So, yeah, just really shifting into our business has seasons. I just had somebody reach out to me this morning who's a therapist, and she was like, "Hey, are you finding that she's like, I'm finding that I'm not getting as many referrals and this and that." I was like, "Listen, it's a seasonal thing, and sometimes, I think there's a lot of fear right now in the community of therapy, where, there's just a lot happening with insurance platforms and these different platforms taking over and things of that nature. And there's a lot of fear being created. And I am not going to live in that. I basically was having a really great conversation, was just like, listen, your business has seasons and like look back over the last few years and just see where those cycles are and just know that you have the skill to go out and market yourself and share what you do and get in the right rooms and circles and people will refer. And so I think if we can remember that business has seasons of growth. It has seasons of stability. Just it feels like a plateau, but it's actually just stability. And then it has this season of expansion, contraction. Like we have these sort of just cyclical things, just like we have seasons in life, seasons of, spring, summer, fall, winter. And so just being aware of that and letting yourself not get overwhelmed with pressure of putting something out. Just look at the trajectory that you have had in your business and just know that sometimes we're in different seasons and that's okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the spring. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for the winter to be over. I'm ready for my little things that spurt up, my little sprouts and all that. I can't
Mhm.
wait to see. I can't wait to see what blooms. We
Yeah.
can't wait to see what blooms for you and your company. We want to encourage you, girl, pull the weeds out, make some room, get some new blooms, and then take a look at the overall space and see what you've grown.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. Let us know your feedback. And remember, if you're feeling like you're plateaued or in failure, it's just feedback, it's just information. And gathering that up and saying, what's my pivot? What's my next step? So, thanks, Des, for having this conversation today. This has been great. Let us know what you think. Let us know where you're pivoting. Let us know which weed that you need to focus on the most right now. And we love to hear from you guys. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back at you next time. Go set the world on fire. Love you guys.
Bye.